Welcome to Animania Chronicles, where we dive deep into the captivating worlds of anime, dissecting stories, unraveling characters, and sharing our passion for all things animated. In this video, we will delve further into the intense competition and evolving strategies within Blue Lock as the stakes grow higher and the participants push themselves to new limits in pursuit of their ultimate goal. After that, Team V got a free kick, and REI said that he will beat everyone up if they lose. Lemon wondered if Rio would pass the ball to his teammates, but he remembered that they are in Blue Lock. His ego was awakened, and he managed to prevent the goal. Then Zetsu tried to score, but REI appeared out of nowhere and blocked his shot. Suddenly, Nagi got the ball, and teams desperately tried to protect the goal. At the last second, Gagamaru appeared, and he saved Team Z from a disaster. Meanwhile, Quan turned around and saw that Isagi got the ball. Isagi was aware that it was their last chance, and he immediately started the counterattack. Suddenly, Rio appeared and marked him, but he didn't intend to lose. He passed to Bachira so that he could dribble through the opponents. After being stopped, he passed back to Isagi. Isagi was in beast mode and passed the ball to Team Z's speedster. Suddenly, Chijiri noticed that the opponents were wary of him, but everything went according to Isagi's plan. He passed the ball back to Isagi, and he had used Chijiri as bait. Meanwhile, Quan realized how wrong it was to betray his team. He regretted it and planned to leave the past behind him from now on. Then Quan started cheering on his friends, and he was sure that his friends will score a goal. Isagi smelled that the best chance was to pass the ball to Kunigami. Suddenly, Zetsu appeared trying to stop Kunigami. Kunigami lost the ball, but REI appeared. He didn't intend to lose and saved the ball so that it wouldn't go out. Isagi could smell where he had to go to score a goal, but Chira trusted Isagi because the monster in him said that Isagi will score a goal with his last shot. In this moment, Nagi appeared, and Isagi could no longer smell a chance to score. Nagi sensed that Isagi was the most dangerous person on the field. Isagi was desperate, and he wondered if he would be able to get to the ball before Nagi. Isagi didn't want to lose, and he knew that if he didn't get the ball, it would be game over. At that moment, Isagi evolved, and he knew what he had to do to win. Isagi realized that he had to score the decisive goal himself and that he needs to develop his own weapon. He remembered his abilities and was able to find the final puzzle to find his goal formula. Isagi transformed from being mediocre into a superhero, and he shot the ball into the goal. Then the goalkeeper tried to save his direct shot, but he was overwhelmed by Isagi's volley. Isagi was able to lead Team Z to victory, and he evolved as a striker. The result was 4-5 for Team Z, and the opponents were exhausted. Nagi didn't want to give up, but time was up, and Team Z had won their last game. Nagi was frustrated because he had never experienced this feeling before. Meanwhile, Kunigami told Quan to join them. Suddenly, REI appeared still angry with Quan, but he thanked him because without him they would have lost. Then he slapped Quan in the face and said that despite everything, he will hate him for the rest of his life. Team Z forgave him, and Kunigami helped him get up. Then they learned about the people who made it to the second selection. Team Z and Isagi were happy that they managed to survive. In the evening, Team Z planned to celebrate their victory. We then see Isagi and Bachira getting water for dinner. Suddenly, Bachira asked how he could score this amazing goal. Isagi told him that his spatial awareness wasn't working, but his desire to defeat a strong opponent led him to think about his previous goals. As a result, he managed to create a goal formula. Bachira was happy that Isagi evolved his ego and congratulated him. Following this, they heard the strikers who had to leave Blue Lock crying. Isagi realized that by winning, they had destroyed the dreams of others. Suddenly, Nico appeared, who had survived as the top scorer. He said that he is grateful to have met Isagi because he awakened as a striker after his defeat. Besides, he didn't plan on losing the next fight against Isagi. Isagi replied that he is not afraid and he will crush him. Back in the bedroom, Isagi and Bakira learned that their friends had fallen asleep. The following morning, Jinpachi explained to Team Z that they would undergo physical conditioning before the start of the second selection. However, the training of the strikers started immediately. Then we see how Team Z had to improve their stamina every day. It was very hard, and the strikers barely got time to rest. They were exhausted by the training schedule every day, and hoped it would end soon. After 10 hard days of intense strength and stamina training, the time had finally come. They were very excited, and they planned to crush their opponents in the second selection. Then Isagi realized that the people in the second stage looked familiar. Jinpachi appeared on the screen and explained to them that no players from other buildings existed because only Building 5 existed. The reason for this was that the strikers had to think they were at the bottom of the pile. Jinpachi planned to awaken their hunger to score so that they can become top strikers. He then told the strikers that the second selection consists of 5 stages. They also learned that if they pass the second section, they will take part in training with top players in the world. Following this, they found out that they have to go to the first stage alone. The reason for this was to sift out the trash because only the true egoists will remain. A short time later, Atoshi Rin planned to go through the gate first. Suddenly, he shot the ball into the air, and everyone in the room was shocked by his abilities. He was warmed up and went through the gate. Everyone wondered if they could defeat such a monster. At that moment, Isagi tried to call Megashi, and he said that they are monsters too. Team Z was motivated to destroy Rin, and they said that they would become the top striker in Blue Lock. Nobody planned to lose, and they were hyped up to pass the second selection. Then Isagi walked through the gate, and he was grateful for the experience with Team Z. Arrived in the first stage, a ball was coming out of the wall. Also, a dummy appeared, and he wondered what was happening. He learned that the Blue Lock man served as the goalkeeper, and he needs to score goals from the penalty area. Then, Isagi started shooting, and he thought that it is easy to score a goal. Following this, he learned that he had 90 minutes to score 100 goals. He had no intention of failing at this stage and was hyped up. A short time later, the second ball came flying. Isagi used his soccer skills and was able to score his first goal during the time he spent in the first stage. He realized that the training was amazing. 30 minutes passed. Isagi reached level 2, and the difficulty was also increased. Isagi tried to score a goal, but it didn't work. He had to evolve, and the other strikers were also evolving in the training room. Meanwhile, HRI was worried because the Blue Lockman system cost a lot of money, and they were almost out of funds. Jinpachi didn't care about it because he could see that the strikers were evolving. He knew that this time only the strongest strikers would survive, and he would come closer to his goal of creating a striker god. Then Isagi evolved again, and he was able to score goals. HRI was impressed by the Blue Lockman training because the strikers were evolving rapidly. A few minutes passed, and Isagi learned that he had reached level max. At that moment, the dummies started moving, and Isagi had to evolve further to pass the stage. Jinpachi explained that the dummies move like top players at world level. The reason for this was that he had to push the players to their limits so that they could improve their skills. In the meantime, Isagi couldn't score anymore. He knew that he had always relied on his teammates, but he wanted to change. He tried to hit the ball from a different angle, but his attempt failed. Afterwards, Isagi tried to understand what he did wrong. At that moment, he shot the goal again and scored a corner goal. As a result, he created a new goal formula, and Isagi felt great. Meanwhile, Isagi managed 100 goals, and he moved on to the second stage. When he arrived in the second stage, he learned that he should form a team of 3. Isagi noticed that Naji and Ryo were already in the room. He suspected that they were waiting for Zetsu. Afterwards, they planned to form a team with Kunigami or Chijiri. Since they could only choose one, they chose the first one to enter the room. Then Nagi showed up and wanted Isagi on his team. The reason for this was that he was interested in Isagi because he had awakened his ego. Isagi declined because he wanted to stay on a team with Bachira. At that moment, Nagi decided that he would join Isagi's team. They were surprised by this, and Ryo felt betrayed by his friend. Nagi thanked him for teaching him soccer, but his ego told him to join Isagi's team. Ryo was shocked by this and said that he should do whatever he wants. A short time later, Isagi thought about it. He wanted to wait for his friends, but the monster in him wanted to play with Nagi too. As a result, Isagi's 3-man team was formed, and they entered the gate to the third stage. On the way to the third stage, Bachira asked if he was a cold person. Nagi replied that he would miss Ryo, but he is more excited to join them because his ego told him so. When they arrived in the third stage, they met Ren. Jinpachi explained that in the third stage, they will experience battles of 3-on-3. Then we see Kunigami, who has arrived in the second stage. Chiri told him that Isagi and Bakira formed a team with Naji. As a result, the two decided to form a team and defeat their friends for being left behind. In the meantime, Jinpachi explained the strikers about the mini-games. In the third stage, they learned that they needed 5 goals to win. In addition, the winner can steal a player, and in order to pass the second selection, they must have a 5-man team at the end. So, Jinpachi told them that they are free to choose which team they battle. Isagi realized that this will give him the opportunity to get Chijiri or Kunigami on his team. A short time later, the strikers received a new rank. Jinpachi said that there are no fake rankings this time. That's all for today. Stay tuned for the next part. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the vast realms of anime. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more thrilling reviews and discussions. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of anime with us.